Hey guys, welcome back to Jurassic Collectibles. So before I get started with the review, we've had a parcel arrive. Now this comes all the way from one of our subscribers, Colonel Angel, and I want to say a big thank you to Colonel Angel for sending this over. Very, very kind of them. Now I know what's inside here, but this is pretty monumental for the channel, so prepare yourselves guys. Okay, let's open up this packet. Okay, so inside, first of all we have a postcard. Now this is a postcard of the Eiffel Tower, and you can see there's a ride there in the foreground. On the back we've got nothing, so I'm assuming this was just to keep the contents straight, so we can get rid of that. Let's see what's inside. We've got a baggie, and look what's inside. It's a Series 2 original vintage Ian Malcolm. Now Colonel Angel sent this with the strict instructions that we use him as well as Off Color Alan on the channel. So we have a new character folks, and this is Cranky Ian. Whenever there's a problem, Cranky Ian is going to show up and be all critical with his chaos theory.
I'll tell you the problem with the scientific...
Bye bye Ian,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
back in your back. Cranky Ian. What we're really taking a closer look at today are these Stegasaurus Papo figurines. Now we've already reviewed this guy on the channel, link is in the description if you want to see that video, but today we're taking a look at this. It's version 2 of the Papo Stegosaurus. Some of you might not even be aware that this exists, but it seems that Papo have repainted their Stegosaurus in a way that almost better resembles the Stegosaurus we see in Jurassic World. So the original Papo Stegosaurus very closely resembles the Stegosaurus that we see in The Lost World. Its coloration is very similar, the main difference being these white spots on each of the plates surrounded by this little dark green circle. That is not on the Stegosaurus we see in The Lost World. Now if we compare and contrast with this new Stegosaurus, you can see that the differences are quite clear. The sculpt is exactly the same, the only thing that's changed here is the paint scheme. But if you look at the plates, we no longer have those white spots bordered by very dark green. It's almost more like a honey brown colour. You can see the gradient on the original that goes from dark green to a pale colour is actually more clear cut now. We've got more of a straight line, and also it's more of a darker green and it's mingled with brown, which is almost replicating the colour we see on the plates. Also, if you take a closer look at the head is generally now more green, the beak is a darker brown similar to the plates, and also the eye is a much brighter and more vibrant yellow. Taking a look at the tail, you can see even the tail spikes now are more of a greeny colour. They've sort of used green to weather these spikes, whereas in the original they used like a black sort of grey colour. And looking at the weathering, you can see that actually they use much more of a darker green to weather up the original Stegosaurus, that's this one on the right, versus the newer one, which has a much more sort of paler green weathered between the scales there. Taking a closer look at those plate differences, you can see here's the white spots surrounded by dark green, and actually it's a very matte paint scheme. There's not much gloss going on here, whereas if I bring in the new Jurassic World like variant, you can see that actually this honey colour in the middle is very glossy, so this has almost replaced the white spots. Also on the backs of the plates you can see there's a very pale green with sort of dark green spots on the original, and on the new one we've got much more of a sort of darker green, still got those dark green spots going on, but it sort of more mingles into one general green colour. If we take a closer look at the heads here, this one on the left is the original and this is the new one on the right. You can see that actually there's a black line down the centre of the tongue here. Also it's black painted around the outside of the tongue, and the beak is a very pale colour but it's weathered nicely. And then we've got the new one over here which has a much darker beak, and you can see they've used a paler pink, and they haven't gone with more of a prominent black, they've used more of like a dark grey to weather around the tongue. I would say in this case it looks more realistic on the new one. Taking a closer look at this figure, you can see all of the detail here. Like I said, we have reviewed the original on the channel, link is in the description if you want to see a close-up review of that one. This just gives you a better idea of the paint scheme. You can see they've used this sort of light greenish colour, almost like a weathering gradient that gets stronger towards the bottom, which I think is very nice. And you can see these brown spots here which tie in with the sort of honey coloured plates on this one. Very, very nice, really nicely weathered tail spikes there. Just a really beautiful looking figure. Fantastic. And then we're back to that head sculpt, and you can see that the eye is a very, very bright yellow. It might be a little bit too vibrant for my liking, but in general I like the colour scheme of the head. I think the green, prominent green, is really nice, and I like the dark beak as well. One detail I feel which has been lost a little bit is if you see that brown border around the outside of the eye, it kind of seats the eye quite nicely, but on the original I think they did it a little bit better. You can see here's the original, and yeah, just the black border around that eye for me just seats the eye much better, and I think at a distance it looks more like a realistic eye. So let me know in the comments down below, which one do you prefer more? The more Jurassic World accurate Stegasaurus or the more Lost World accurate Stegasaurus? I really like them both, and it's nice to have some variation in the paint schemes. If I'm building a herd of dinosaurs, then it's nice to have two versions of the same dinosaur just to add that little bit of variation. You can probably find the original version from online sellers if you look carefully. Places like eBay will actually show you the pictures of the products you're going to get before you buy them. Make sure that they're not promotional images, that they're actually an image of the product itself. But that gives you the chance to kind of pick up both versions of this Stegosaurus. And as I said, we have reviewed this guy already on the channel, so if you want a more in-depth review of the original, then do check that out. Link is in the description down below. Let me know also in the comments down below, have you noticed any more variants of Papo figures? I hear that there's a variant for the Spinosaurus, and I'm going to try and pick that one up. But if you guys know of any more variants, do let me know in the comments down below, and we'll get them on the channel too. In the meantime guys, rate, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye Ian, there you go. Get back in your back. Thank you Ian.